I usually try and watch at least one movie a night and relax, clear my head. I'm really into filmmaking, so that's, I'm not only watching movies, but I'm really studying them and taking them in. That's my main goal in tattooing, to really give you the feeling you're looking at a movie poster, or you're just watching a movie in a way, Not only the likeness of the actors and stuff, but also the mood and feeling of that particular scene and the style that it was shot, the color palette, everything, the whole feeling of the movie on your body. I think that's what separates my tattoos from a lot of other people's. My name's Paul Acker. I opened Seance in 2015. I've owned a shop before this one, and I kind of learned a lot from that shop, and everything I learned over the last 18 years of my career, I kind of put into this new shop, and really wanted to hire people I trusted, and also the greatest artists I know. And luckily I have a really good manager, and Nikki, the assistant, just really takes care of us. And once you have those people in place, the business is going to run a lot smoother. It's like a family, and in the best possible sense. Make him wear a dunce hat. When he's drawing, just when he's drawing though, at that table.
The crew here has a sense of magic about them, with the way they work, the way the styles support each other, personalities and the music and everything, atmosphere, just like a movie.
Just everything horror related just really feels like the kind of place that I should be. So when I come into a seance where it's like a modern dungeon, because everything is so clean and classy, but you have that nice sense of evil everything with where we have caskets in here and a bunch of skulls and bones and stuff like that. The type of stuff that when a regular person would come in here, they might get a little freaked out. But I mean, the decor of my house is pretty similar to here. It's I have all different skulls and stuff, and a lot of people see it as something weird, and it just kind of feels and that shit's kind of cool though.
It's really cool to be surrounded by the things that you also have in common with people. I was always into really pop culture type movies. Anything 80s, early 90s, that's everything I'm about, and it's really cool to grow up with that and then implement that in my artwork, and then just doing nothing but drawing movie characters and comic books as a kid, and then to work here, and it's you get to do that as an adult. You know what I mean? It's unheard of. It's fun.
You grow up watching movies and you feel connections with certain characters, and then being able to create a living piece of art out of that character, it makes it that much more, I don't know, enjoyable.
My favorite movies have influenced my artwork through character design, the way that worlds are created in cinema. So reading a lot of the concept art books from movies were more interesting to me than even the movie sometimes.
My style is mostly focused on black and white realism with a mix of surrealism in it. The kind of things I like to do are usually darker styled, which is why a shop like Seance suits me, because I like to do dark skulls and a lot of things with weird mixes and blends in them. Really anything that just has a evil, creepy style to it is really the things I enjoy doing. Some of my biggest inspirations in art come from the guys that do a lot of the darker stuff, whether it be tattoo artist or artist. I like when it's something you have to really question what is going on in the person's mind. Anything that really provokes a feeling in art that's dark and creepy and subtle, those are the type of styles I really enjoy.
I like a lot of stuff from a lot of breakout styles, guys whose artwork stand alone from the crowd. Anytime I design something, that's where I'm coming from, is what can I do to it that I'm not seeing, be done, I like to sort of be spontaneous with almost every day that I work, because I've been doing it for so long that if you don't have a sense of chaos about how you create, it gets really mundane. The no plan, that's what I like to call that.
I really focus on black and gray realism. But when I started tattooing, it was drilled into my mind in my apprenticeship to do technically proficient tattoos. Clean lines, solid color, really bold shades and blends. And I bring that into every form of tattooing that I do. So I like to focus on black and gray realism. I like to focus on color realism. I still do traditional and neo-traditional stuff from time to time. But Black and gray is really where I find my passion. It's really where I have the most fun. I just like to be challenged as a tattooer, and I find that in black and gray tattooing. Being pushed every day by people like Danny and Paul Acker and Paul Marino and Buzz, it's insane the amount of talent that's here, and it drives me to be a better artist every day, every time I come in. I'd have to say I really draw most of my inspiration from them.
I really like to do Art Nouveau as far as an art style. I paint a lot of Art Nouveau. I love to tattoo Art Nouveau. And I also love to do a lot of realism. I focus a lot more on dogs. My wife and I are huge dog advocates, so being able to implement and doing dog portraits into my tattoos is just like a dream come true. But on the other side of that, I love doing like, you know, old Mucha style, turn of the century, like old 1800s, like real nouveau. And it's kind of a cool mix between like graphic and realism, where there's a lot of hard lines, but a lot of soft, realistic aspects of it.
My favorite style of tattooing is horror and poster art, movie-related tattoos. It's kind of my specialty, I guess. Lighting was always a really big focus for me, like way back when. I always thought it was like a really a cool way to cast a lot of atmosphere in your work. And I think Basil Gogos is like the first person I noticed that used, you know, he'll use reflective lights and backlights and just colors bouncing all over Frankenstein or Dracula, whoever, you know. I always saw like the famous monsters covers and was just drawn to like how beautiful the monsters looked and what made them so beautiful. And it was taking the movie lighting that they had, but adding dynamic colors that you would see more like in a Dario Argento movie or something like that. So that was always like my a main inspiration in my style in tattooing. I don't draw really much inspiration from a lot of other tattoo artists, honestly. I draw inspirations from art outside of tattooing, and I think that's maybe what gives me a little bit more of an edge. And when I do get a lot of time off, I like to dabble in like a little bit of like, you know, independent filmmaking, music videos, stuff like that, just to learn the craft a little bit because I just love it so much. I mostly just hang out my girlfriend Sam and our cats. Yeah, I just love being home with them. You know, that's like my main like life, working on music when I can, things like that.
Paul just lives and breathes art. Everything that he sees, he has ideas constantly. He's always, you know, thinking up ideas for videos and drawings and paintings, and it's one project onto the next.
Just being creative is like really important to me to stay focused, especially in tattooing. I feel like doing other things outside of tattooing is important to clear your head.
My wife and I have 2 kids. We have a 12-year-old and a 1-year-old. So it's a pretty crazy dynamic in the house. You know, we have the kid that's he's almost in high school, and then we have a baby. So it's like, but he helps us out a lot. But yeah, I've always wanted a family. I love having a family. You know, it's just, you know, us 4, and then we have 2 dogs and a cat, and it's just, and then, you know, we constant foster dogs. So it's crazy, but it's the life I love. Can't wait for Danny to make fun of this one. Oh, he loves animals. Oh, he's a humanitarian.
This is my man's
Bro,
Paul Marino, and
you got thick thighs.
I've actually been told that those save lives.
Yo, you went from gothic.
Don't get it twisted. Like we all work super hard and try to be the best we could possibly be in the art, but this place is just set up to be a stress-free environment where it's just about having fun and doing sick work. It's set up so that you don't want to leave. Like, I find myself so many times on nights that I stick around an extra 2 hours doing nothing.
And I'm not with you, I lose my mind. Give me a sign. Hit me, baby, one more time. My loneliness is killing me.
That actually bothers people, having small cats. Like that's something that people are like waking up in the morning, they're like about to have a good day, and then they're like, wait.
Dude, all I have to do is gain they have to gain a lot
Fuck,
of mass
man, like
and
cats.
just walk
Like,
around for a
yo, I'm trying to just be less fat, you know what I mean? I'm like,
Why are you staring at me when you say that? It's a shit.
picking that big old leg up.
Dude, yeah, I swear to God, I could kick so high, you wouldn't even believe it.
Let me see this
I was gonna say, yeah.
You wouldn't even believe how high I could kick.
Right.
Do it. Yeah, I'm calling bullshit. Do it.
Alright, so, alright.
No. Back in my
my face.
I want you to kick that mic.
Oh, dude, I can kick the shit out of this. Let's not.
Working in this shop is like being on a vacation with all your terrible brothers.
It's just a madhouse in here. It's so much fun, and I can't imagine what it's like for clients just to watch us.
Yeah, I was gonna say nobody really like. It might be when I'm not here. They don't like goof off too hard when I'm here. I feel like, but sometimes they do.
When I was 17 years old, my brother bought me a tattoo machine for Christmas, and at that time I didn't know how to get into this job or anything, but I always knew that I wanted to do it. I always thought it was such a cool, crazy art, and just to be able to do that for a living would be awesome. So when I did get the tattoo machine, I decided to start searching for apprenticeships and finally found one when I was 17 in Staten Island. So at that time, I didn't really have money for anything. I was super broke, saving pennies just to make myself get by, barely able to afford gas. And I just gave this job everything I have. And since then, now I'm 26. I mean, it's been a long time. I've just been working like 6-7 days a week, busting my ass, doing as much as I possibly can to make this job work, because honestly, I can't imagine my life without tattooing. So outside of here, I just really try to wind down and keep it chill. I try to do a lot of stuff in nature because I feel like that's good for art, and it gets you like, get your mind where it should be in like a peaceful state, so that when I do come back in here, I'm ready.
My mom always had tattoos when I was growing up. Not very good ones. She was a biker girl, Harleys and stuff like that. But being a child and she would come home with a new tattoo, it was always so interesting to me because I loved to draw. And the fact that she had pictures permanently on her was just mind-boggling to me. So I remember being like 10, 11, and I would used to draw on like masking tape with Sharpies, and then I would get my friend's arm wet and I would like put the masking tape on them and pull it off and be like, yeah, I tattooed that guy. So then growing up, I always had that in the back of my mind that was a reality. Like that was a career choice. I wanted to be able to do something that I can make a proficient living at and still do art and still use my hands. My life is a tattooer. I'm a tattooer. It's hard to maintain a lifestyle as a tattooer. It's one of those things, I always talk about the tattooer pyramid. You know, you have a social life, you have getting enough sleep, and you have doing quality work. You can only pick two.
Living Corpse is my comic. It's like a mashup of like zombie superhero stuff. If you could take like the Crypt Keeper and Batman and make them like one character. You know, I created him with a friend of mine named Ken Hazer, who was a comic book artist that was a friend that I knew. I tattooed him. And all the greats are like, you know, don't steal, don't copy, draw your own stuff and practice. And that's how you get to be good. So we just did that. And from maintaining that moral guideline, like we were able to create an original idea. Started out as a makeup effects guy, and I was like traveling and trying to do that, and I had to have like a backup. So when I got my first tattoo, I had drawn one for a friend of mine. It seemed to turn out, and it was pretty good. I was like, wow, that's a great translation from illustration to real tattoo. So I drew a piece of art and got it tattooed. And after seeing the magazines and the culture, I was like, this is a really cool thing that like seemed very fringe. And before the shows, this is even before the internet, so it's like an underground thing. It was a cool time to get in because it was a different world. It was not so overly readily available. You know, like to get equipment, you had to know someone, you know, and you had to do a lot of hard, dirty work to like get into tattooing.
I knew I wanted to be a tattoo artist since I was pretty young. I think like I originally wanted to be like a special effects artist. That was always my like inspiration, and like my love, you know, was horror since I was a kid. You know, maybe 3 or 4, just being obsessed with, you know, everything creepy and weird. And Freddy Krueger was like an obsession for a while. It was weird. But anyway, so I wanted to be a special effects artist, and you know, I kind of knew even as a kid I wanted to go to Tom Savini's makeup effects school. You know, that was always like what I wanted to do. And then I discovered tattooing. I just saw like my uncle had like a xenomorph, like alien, like on his arm, and I just thought it was like so badass as a kid. And then when I was 18, I started tattooing professionally. I got like an apprenticeship at like a street shop, you know. Right from the start, I would bring in my friends and tattoo a lot of horror stuff, like Michael Myers, all that stuff, just in black and gray, just to get it down, practice that stuff in the mornings before the shop would open. I'd have to go in and mop all the floors, do all the tubes, all that stuff, prep the shop for the day, tattoo my friend for a few hours, clean up, break down, and then tattoo for another 10, 12 hours. You know, it was a busy shop, so I learned really fast, you know. Tattooing is a lot different today than it was when I started. I started in the year 2000, which sounds so long ago now, you know, but it was a different world. There wasn't social media. You still had to send in your tattoos to magazines to kind of get your work out there. That was the only way, and do a lot of conventions. I traveled all over the world for many, many years just to get my name out there, you know. But my main goal when I first started to tattoo was to just like not suck, you know what I mean? I just didn't want to suck at anything, and if I kind of said to myself, if I didn't kind of get this in the first 5 years, I was going to give it up and maybe go to makeup effects school or do something else. But it kind of really did stick in the first couple years once I started concentrating more on applying my style to tattooing, you know, and because me trying to learn how to tattoo in the tattoo style, it was hard for me to relearn retrain my brain to think that way. But once I started tattooing in a more realistic manner, it really just like clicked for me.
I wanted to be a tattoo artist when I was 6, believe it or not. It's in my family. My uncle tattoos out of Illinois, and it was a family reunion when I was 6 years old, and he used to come to every family reunion and tattoo all the family. And I remember they were in the basement and I wasn't allowed to go down there because they're blasting Slayer and drinking beer and tattooing. I went down there by myself and I saw it and I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. I have to do this. And everybody, in the family's like, oh, he wants to be like his Uncle Spider, but they didn't realize this is it for me. My whole life, I just never let it go. Today, I'm tattooing Steve Carell from The Office, and such an iconic show, such a great character.
What I'm getting tattooed today is actually a portrait of Michael Scott from The Office. I've always wanted the tattoo, and I never found the right person to kind of to take on the project because I wanted it to be so realistic. When I looked up Paul Marino's work, I was like, this is spot on. This is exactly who I want to do it, and he understands exactly what I want. And I was like, this is perfect.
Things like that, when you're in love with like something from a movies or TV show or animals, that's like always somebody's favorite stuff to tattoo,
I literally watched The Office for 3 years straight. No joke. I was like, before I went to bed, I'd watch like 2 episodes before I went to bed because it was like my go-to. I think it's gonna be meaningful because it's just like a big part of my life, and it says "I am dead inside," which is just like it has like that ode to like the goth or dark, like depressed lifestyle, I guess. I own a store called The Strange and Unusual, which I feel like half the stuff from in here is from my store, which is awesome. I also have I'm in a band called Strange Kids. In my band, I sing and I play piano as well. And it's just me and one of my friends. What drew me to Seance is the aesthetic of everything. It's just perfectly in my wheelhouse, and I love everything about it. But yeah, I'm excited. I think it's gonna be an awesome tattoo, and hopefully it doesn't hurt too bad, so we'll see.
Yeah, I'm really nervous. I'm tattooing my girlfriend today, and I wouldn't be nervous, but I've never tattooed her before, and I've been putting it off for like 8 years or something.
I couldn't imagine that he could be nervous to tattoo me when he's tattooed Doyle and celebrities and it's me, but he said he's nervous.
Just because, like I'm always growing as an artist, and I know I'd have to look at it every day, but I feel like the time's right.
And I've dreamt of this for many years. I've known Paul for 8 years now, and I've been a fan since even before we met, so I had heard his name all around my work, and all my friends were, wanting to get tattooed by Paul Acker, and that was all the way back then. So the first time that I dated Paul, I had never seen a horror movie or any scary movie besides Hannibal, and kind of traumatized me as a kid, I guess. So he would show me spooky movies, not horror movies, but just spooky. So he showed me Interview with a Vampire, and I loved it. I went and I got the book and I read it, and I just fell in love with the story. So I got a tattoo of Claudia, the little girl that's played by Kirsten Dunst. So today, Paul is adding another black and gray portrait above it of Lestat. So he's the coolest character, just awesome.
She already has an Interview with the Vampire piece, so we're gonna kind of work with the one she has and make it kind of connect to that.
Oh my gosh, I'm so nervous, yes. I'm scared for the pain, but the joy of getting a Paul Acker tattoo is definitely getting me through today. I'm sure he's gonna put his heart into it, not that he doesn't always do that.
I'm pretty nervous about how it's gonna go.
I think